I think we were going to just start off with some introductions. I know some of the people on the call, but I don't know everybody. I know some names who I haven't really been able to put faces with, but I'm Julie Bates, and I'm the Donor Relations Manager at the International Elephant Foundation. So welcome tonight to our presentation for our Kenya trip. We're going to talk all about it, and we're going to learn about all the wonderful places that are on the itinerary, and learn about all the things that you're going to be able to see if you go on the trip with us. So I guess we can just kind of go around the horn and introduce ourselves. Sarah, would you want to go next?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I think I've met most of you. Got to see some great familiar faces. I'm Sarah Conley. I work for IEF, conservation coordinator, and great to be here. And I'm also the one who will be traveling with you if you choose to come to Kenya. So I'm very excited to share this experience with everyone.
And I'm Deborah Olson, the Executive Director, and I'm just here on this call because I've been to Africa multiple times, just to answer questions that are maybe not directly related to the trip, but just some experiences that I might have if that comes up.
I'm Stacy Fiorentinos from Classic Escapes, and I have put together the program in cooperation, of course, or in conjunction with the team at IEF, to concentrate on the work, the important work that they do with elephant conservation in Kenya. I mean, they do a lot of work in a lot of other areas in Africa, but this particular trip is all Kenya. A very customized trip that features quite a few of the projects that they work with and the areas that they are at.
So my name is Beverly Bossman. I'm just a donor to this wonderful organization, and I have a special place in my heart for elephants and would love to get to Kenya one day.
Hopefully on this one.
Yes, glad to see you tonight.
Hi, Jim Tullio. Been an IEF supporter for the past few years, and Africa's always been on the bucket list. And again, a great opportunity of intersection between supporting the cause and hitting another bucket list location. But I'm excited to learn more about it.
Thank you, Jim. Good to see you.
Ellen, I think you might be up next.
Okay. I'm a veterinarian. I taking care of a lot of elephants. And most of my travel has been to Southeast Asia. So I haven't been to Africa, and I feel like that's an important thing missing. So this trip sounded pretty cool, and I'm excited to hear about it.
Fantastic. Your two, what do you have? Boys, girls there? What do you have right next to you?
Well, I have two very large dogs who can't behave when I'm on the phone, which is why I had muted myself and disappeared because it was a little embarrassing. But here we are. Yeah, so this is Zara and Calvin showing up on the other side. They have to stop phone calls.
Oh.
Great. And it looks like we have Nancy on the line. I don't know if you want to talk or not, Nancy, but I know Nancy's been interested in going on a trip with us and has asked some questions about the Kenya trip. So good to see that you're here tonight with us. And with that being said, I think we can let Stacy maybe take it away and tell us about this wonderful custom trip that Classic Escapes has designed for IEF. We're really looking forward to hearing more about it.
All right. So what we will do right here, let me just make sure, there it goes. What I plan to do is to show you pretty much what the program is about, the areas that you will be visiting, the wildlife you will be seeing, and all of that kind of stuff. But obviously, we have within the presentation a few areas about the work that IEF does. And I believe Sarah can say a little bit more, or Julie, or Debbie for that matter, can say a little bit more about the project. But what I will do is I will take you through the itinerary that we have customized for the organization. So this program, this safari, was carefully curated, as I said earlier, with elephant conservation in mind. You are visiting 3 of the major areas that IEF works with, has projects with, or partners with. Savo West National Park, which is a vast, beautiful park. And then Mount Kenya, the area, again, they do a lot of work with that. And then Samburu National Reserve. But en route, you also stop at Lewa Downs to go over the projects that IEF is working with. And then in Samburu, visiting some of the areas that they have either supported in the past or are affiliated with. At the end, there is a post-extension to the Masai Mara National Reserve, which of course is the best game park in terms of wildlife viewing in Kenya. If you do the whole program, not only are you going to have great wildlife viewing, but also fantastic elephant viewing and better understanding of the work that IEF does. Exploring Kenya in November is something that I kind of wanted to throw your way, because a lot of people ask, will we be there for the migration? And what I really want to say is that the migratory herds of zebra, wildebeest, accompanied by zebra, and of course the predators, it's a 24/7, 365 days a year sort of event. But it depends where you will be, how much of it you will see. So in November, that is the complete tail end of any kind of migratory herds. But you may see lines as they are returning to Tanzania, as they're going south and going to Tanzania, and all the way south to the southern Serengeti and Ngorongoro Conservation Area, where they mass for the winter and have their calves and all of that. So you may see some, you may not. You will not see crossings at this time of year. The crossings don't really happen anymore, but you'll have an opportunity to see wildlife nonetheless, because the Mara has a resident herd of wildebeest and zebra, so you're never going to miss them. It's just that you may never see all those big herds. If you want to see the big herds in the Masai Mara, you need to travel in July, August, September, and October. Your guide, your naturalist guide, is going to be James and Jungo Mungai. James has a long guiding history. He's really quite wonderful, and people fall in love with him. He speaks quite a few languages, and of course he's fluent in English, so you wouldn't have any issues at all. But he's a really good guide, and I know he's going to be able to work with the team and with Sarah when she's on the program to ensure that you see everything that needs to be seen. Your journey begins as you board your flight in the USA to Nairobi. We can assist you if you want for air flights, but if you want to do your own, you're by all means free to do your own. I find that Kenya Airways via New York, they do offer very good rates in case you are interested. And they have good connections from all over the country. You arrive in Nairobi and you will spend your first night at the residences at Karen. You will be in cottages like the one you see to the left, and which have one room to the left, one room to the right, and then a living room in the middle, for you to have, free time if you want in there. But each room is accessed on its own, so you don't even have to use the middle room if you don't want to hang out there. And each room, as you can see, has a little patio on the outside. This hotel is set at the golf course of Karen. And Karen, of course, is the area where Karen Blixen had her farm, and the whole region used to be her farm. It is now a leafy suburb of Nairobi, and one of our favorite places to put people in because it is safe. And this is a gated community, for instance, and you have lots of greenery all around you. The very next day, you're gonna get on one of these type of Land Cruisers that you see here, and off you go on safari. You're gonna drive to Savo. That should take roughly 5 or so hours. So if you don't want to do this driving and you want to take a flight is available for you to do that if you want. You can see that the vehicles have a pop-up roof, so you can photograph while you're in there. And they have big photographic windows that you can photograph also from the windows. The vehicles take no more than 6 people. We don't like to put more than 6 people. And most of the times, depending on the size of the group, there could be 3, there could be 4, there could be 5, but never more than 6 people. Each of you guaranteed a window seat, so you'll have plenty of space in the vehicles. Your typical daily schedule, you wake up at 6 a.m., you have a light breakfast, and then you go on your game run at 6:30. You come back roughly at about 9, and you have a full American breakfast. Then roughly at 10, you depart on an optional game drive if you want to have another game drive, and come back, around noon. Then at about 1 o'clock, you have lunch, and then some leisure time. At 4, you depart for an afternoon game viewing activity. Coming back to the lodge roughly at 6:30, you will be in national parks and they don't allow you to stay out past darkness. And dinner generally is around 8 o'clock. That's a typical day when you are not driving or traveling between destinations. When you're driving from one destination to the other, you wake up in the morning, you have breakfast, and you drive, and you arrive in time for lunch, and you have an afternoon activity. So that's kind of your typical type of schedule. Your first stop, as I said, is Savo West National Park. You can fly. The flight is $450. This park is famous for elephants, and more importantly, for the red skin that the elephants have. It's not really red skin, it's just that the dust of the earth is so mineral red in Savo. So when they rub themselves with the the dirt, then they look like they're red elephants, but of course they are not. Your accommodation here is going to be Kilaguni Serena Safari Lodge, which is one of the oldest lodges in the park. But in fact, I believe it's a first, but it is run by the Serena chain and they do a fantastic job. They renovate regularly, they upgrade their hotel regularly. It has a fantastic location because it's right by a water hole, and you have animals that come in to drink at any time of the day or night. So you can be sitting, having lunch or whatever. The top left picture, for instance, shows you the water, the water hole right in the front. That's like the restaurant area from where you can actually see that. And the bottom right picture is the waterhole where they come in at night. This waterhole brings in all sorts of animals, from zebra that you can see here to, buffalo or whatever else, elephant or whatever else at any time of the day or night. Here you will visit a Savok trust. So I don't know if Sarah wants to say anything. I have a little video to show you as well about the work that they do.
Sure. So IEF is very excited to take everyone to Savo Trust. We have supported them since 2014, so over 10 years, and you'll find that all of the projects that we're taking you to, we've supported for well over a decade. So these are people and projects that are really close to our heart and that we have a long history with. In Savo Trust, IEF has primarily supported the Big Tusker Project, and that is aerial surveillance of some of the world's last tuskers. Those are elephants with over 100 pounds of ivory per tusk on each side. So they are the elephants of picture books. When you're a little kid and you envision an elephant, those are these elephants. And it's really incredible. Debbie was there last year. They are a family-run organization that has such a large footprint, and they're really making a difference. They work with ground teams to protect these iconic species, the big tuskers, the emerging tuskers, and the iconic cows, which are the females with the large tusks. So really a wonderful place, and we're excited to take everyone there. And you'll see more from the little video.
Which is this one?
My name is Joseph Talon Twaila. I work for the South Africa. So currently we are somewhere in the local sector. Yeah, and we've been searching for some of the super tuskers and emerging tuskers on this particular area. So this area is muchly roadless. So we depend heavily on our area unit to spot where these tuskers are and also to direct the vehicle to get closer to where those tuskers are so that we can take proper photos as well as have a proper look at how tuskers are doing. But we actually identified actual pictures from the research. That is way back, I think, in 2014. I think he's one of those boots. So he's mostly relaxed compared to other tuskers. Given the fact that these elephants are very few and they're very majestic, I'm very proud to be part of the group that is actually taking care of these particular elephants, making sure they're safe and they're able to breed and pass their genes to the next generation. Yeah. Look at these elephants and make sure that they are safe requires lots of resources, especially now that you're using the aerial units and the ground units. And we are very grateful for donors, for example, the International Elephant Foundation for supporting our work to keep these elephants safe.
It's quite interesting to see how they can actually eat with all of those tuskers. I know that they help them, they use them as pretty much hands, but still it's quite interesting to see. Anyway, so this is what I was saying earlier about the red air in Savo, and that's why when you look at their skin, some of them actually look like they have red skin. But Tsavo is not just about elephants, it is also about other kind of wildlife that you can see. Lions, these are the descendants of the original man-eaten lions of Tsavo. And the turn of the century, last century, when they had all of these workers who were building the railroad, and then they were actually lions that were taking down some of them. And so these are the descendants of those lions. Currently, they don't obviously take anybody down, or at least I haven't lost anyone yet. But they are magnificent, and they're some of the largest lions in Tsavo. They're really beautiful animals to see. There are over 600 species of birds, and if any of you really love birds, this is a place to really bring your binoculars and start looking. From the Taira falcon that you see to the right, to the ostriches, which is of course the largest bird in Kenya, to quite a lot of others, from fisher starling, etc. Just some of the birds that you might be able to see, including the vulture and guinea fowl, because Tsavo is sort of a transitional park. You may see some of these birds and wildlife up in northern Kenya, but not in southern Kenya. Like, for instance, the vulture and guinea fowl, you're not going to see in the Masai Mara. The Geranyuk, you might see it here, you will see it better in Samburu. So there are some animals that actually do, you may see oryx here, which is only up in northern Kenya. You will also visit Mzima Springs. This is an area where hippos populated. There's also an underwater viewing area, so you can actually see them underwater. So you'll have an opportunity to see quite a lot in terms of wildlife, whether it is eland, the largest antelope, or giraffe, etc. So after that, you will fly via Nairobi to Nanyuki, which is in central Kenya, and head to Mount Kenya Safari Club.
So can I interrupt quickly before you leave Tsavo Trust? I just want to also say that, oh, you don't have to go back.
I was going to go to an elephant, so you can talk.
One of the things that's going to be really special about this trip that other people who go on safaris don't get is we're actually going to go to the base camp of Tsavo Trust, and we're going to meet Richard Moeller and Alia, his daughter, and much of the staff of the Tsavo Trust. We'll also go to the conservancy, one of the conservancies that they're working with, and obviously elephants survive, and this project is successful because they have the community behind them. But how you get the community behind you is by working with them and seeing what their needs are and helping them to live a good life and help them fill their needs, and at the same time then protecting the elephants. And the community programs that they have currently ongoing and are still developing are things like schools, and they have medical facilities, very basic, but it is something that they that was not there before Tsavo Trust came into being. They also have some really good human-elephant conflict mitigation programs that are very successful, and I was so impressed. And I think it's their 90% plan is something that could really be used throughout Africa. So that to me is very exciting, that not only do you see all this wonderful wildlife, but you actually meet the people on the ground who are doing this work and hear directly from them what it's like to live amongst the wildlife, live with leopards that actually walk into your house at night, and sometimes during the day too, what they put up with in order to be so dedicated to their desire to protect this area of Africa. And so I just wanted to say that it is very special, very uniquely special, and something that I'm so proud that we'll be able to bring to the people who go onto this trip, so they actually can be feel a part of the conservation effort that they are actually supporting. So you support IEF, and IEF supports Savo Trust, and you can actually see where your dollars are doing such great and wonderful work, and actually contributing to the conservation of not only elephants but many other species as well. And now I will shut up and go ahead, Stacy.
Anyways, yes.
No, we saw that. Okay, let's get to Mount Kenya Safari Club. Now, this place was the most outstanding colonial club, started by William Holden, and Stephanie Powers was part of it. And I don't even know if she's still alive. If she's still part of it. And it kind of fell into not disrepair or non-use, but it's not used as often now by American groups as it used to be. But it's still a beautiful property in a beautiful location. Your rooms look something like that. It's just a fabulous place for you to be at. Here, they do have activities like fishing, like all these different kind of activities that you can do, including a 9-hole golf course for any of you who love to go to golf. But you're going here again for something different, which is just a few more photos of the club itself. You can see in this picture, by the way, on the top, this is Mount Kenya, so you can actually have beautiful views of Mount Kenya, which is the second largest mountain of Africa, and it's all contained within Kenya. Many people climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest. There are people who also climb this one, but technically this one is a much more difficult mountain to climb than Mount Kilimanjaro. It's more of a technical mountain. Here you will explore the work that IEF does with this region. I will show you. Do you want to talk first, Sarah, or show the video?
Sure, I'll speak first, and then maybe Debbie, and then we can show the video. So IEF has supported the Mount Kenya Trust, and specifically the Mounted Horse Patrol, since 2012, and we have again a long history with them. You guys will meet Susie Weeks, who's their director, who we've worked directly with for a long time. The people of the Mounted Horse Patrol are community rangers. They grew up in the area, and they have learned conservation skills. They've learned about their wildlife and the habitat that needs to be protected. So not only are they out there riding Ethiopian ponies to go out and do habitat protection of Mount Kenya, which, by the way, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They are doing community outreach. They are serving as ambassadors for the land. It's pretty incredible the work that they're doing, on top of the many projects that they have. They do health services. They do all kinds of habitat reclamation and rehabilitation. So it's a really incredible program. And if Debbie wants to add anything about them before we go to the video, that would be great. I think she might have stepped away. Oh, no, there she is.
I muted myself. The only thing I would add is that I'm very jealous that Sarah's going, because Susie Weeks says that those interested can go on a horseback and patrol. which is like the coolest thing in the world. And I definitely would sign on to do that. If you don't want to ride horses, then you can walk on patrol, as well as see their community programs that Sarah was just talking about. The other thing that's going to be cool is that for all the projects, you know, Susie and Richard and at Northern Rangelands Trust, that in the evenings, the staffs or members of the staff or Susie or Richard or whoever will come to the lodge and have dinner with us or with you guys. And at that time, you can talk to them one-on-one. You know, just enjoy hearing about all the activities and their personal lives as well. So there's a lot of different activities that all these organizations have offered. And so again, it is a unique experience, a unique opportunity that typically is not available.
Okay.
We have 6 teams. 2 are elephant fence teams, and then 3 or 4 are patrol teams. In the northern sector, we have Maranya Wildlife Guard, who do mostly foot patrols within the mountain. And then we have horse patrol teams, which are using horses on their patrol. The advantage of having horses during our patrol is to help us gain mileage. And you see, like when you are patrolling into the forest, you are doing foot patrols, you really don't go deep inside the forest. So when you're having horses, you can go further in, as opposed to when you're using a car, you're in the forest, you're in the mountain. I mean, you cannot really go far when you're walking, or you can not even go far when you're driving. But when you're having the horses, you can gain that mileage. Currently, we have 9 horses and 6 rangers who are maintaining them and patrolling with them as well.
Okay, after your 2 days in this area, you drive on to Samburu National Reserve, another beautiful park. This one is in the northern arid semi-desert fringes of Kenya. En route, you're going to visit the Northern Rangeland Trust, which are stationed at Lewa Downs, and Sarah is going to tell us a little bit more about this.
Northern Rangelands Trust is again one of those projects that we've supported forever. We started supporting them in 2007. And for a number of years, we've supported the 9-1 and 9-2 teams. These are anti-poaching teams that go out there and are protecting habitat. They are on the front lines of conservation. They are, again, community members. One of the things that makes NRT so unique is that they are based around the community conservancy model. And this is one of the gold standards of conservation throughout Africa. Honestly, this is how you do it, because this is how you get, like Debbie was saying, you need to have the people who live alongside wildlife have a stake in their preservation. And the conservancy model, which is a community organization whose aim is to protect natural areas and the animals and plants by everyone's mutual benefit. That model is how you create that consensus for conservation and lift everyone up together. So we're very excited to see the NRT base camp, to have everyone meet actual rangers, to have meals with them and see the technology that they use. It's definitely too dangerous to go on patrol with them, but there's some incredible things that you can see, the inner workings of what they do and how they have really built a community consensus for conservation. And I know Debbie has been to NRT a few times. So, what would you like to tell us about them?
Yeah, so I think what is really interesting or would be fascinating for this group to see is their Joint Operations Command Center and the technology that they have that allows them to stay in contact with the various ranger teams, stay in contact and report on incidences of poaching or of other illegal activities or animals that are in distress or people that are in distress. It's you know, it's not as advanced as what we would see in our police departments, but it's basically that type of technology that they have. The other thing as I see these pictures and I think of how much I love Africa and what I'm saying is every place you're going, the environment is different and the plant life is different. Some of the animal species that you see will be very different. So Samburu is very dry and very sparse at times. As is Savo Trust, Savo or Savo East and West, some of it is very dry and looks like this picture on the right that you're seeing with the elephants. And then other parts of it are much more maybe like grasslands. It's so vast that it kind of the terrain changes and the plant life somewhat changes. And then of course Mount Kenya is very lush in comparison. So that's very interesting. Interesting to see the differences. And then thinking back of just one memory that sticks out in my mind again, instigated by this photo, is that we did go for a walk with rangers because we were looking for this one specific bull, and he kept hiding. Different rangers would go off in different directions, and somebody would spot him, and so we would all run over there, not really run, but go walk quickly over there to see if we could find him, and he would just melt into the foliage and you couldn't see him, even though it wasn't very, it looked like this, it wasn't denser or foresty looking. That it's just an amazing animal that can walk so softly and just melt away, so it's not visible or seen by people. I'm talking too much, but then the other thing that was interesting on that as we were trailing that elephant is having to be careful where you placed your foot, because there are trees that have such long spikes on them, and then they drop to the ground, and if you step on one, it goes right through your shoe. You know, we had hiking boots, it goes right through the sole of that hiking boot. They didn't want to drive their vehicles in this area because it goes right through tires. So just amazing things that are so foreign to what we experience on a day-to-day basis. And again, to have the opportunity to experience something so different is, I don't know, it's just wonderful.
Sure is.
It's really a particularly very difficult year for us as northern Kenya. We've had the severest drought in 40 years. We lost so much elephants due to drought, but the pike levels remain at the lowest in 10 years. We have 19% of pike levels through the harmonized data with KWS. And this is the effort of our community conservancy rangers and also the anti-poaching teams. What I'd like to say is that we have expanded in terms of coverage, right from the coast up to the border between Kenya and Uganda, where the 9-6 mobile team covers. And in particular, we are focusing more on elephant protection, rhino protection, and also in terms of bushmeat, which is really becoming a menace at the coast. The 9-3 and 9-7 anti-poaching teams are really supporting that landscape. We had close to that one arrest last year and recovery of 21 motorbikes in terms of bushmeat anti-poaching efforts. So we do really appreciate the support from IEF, because without the support, those efforts could not have been fed. We have continuously declined in terms of poaching of elephants in NRT landscape, from as high as 120 elephants in 2012 to as low as only 1 elephant in 4 years that was poached in the Matthews. So thank you so much, IEF, for your support. We really appreciate what you're doing to us, and our rangers are so proud in doing what they're doing because of your funding.
Okay, so as you head to Samburu, you'll spend 3 nights at Samburu Intrepid's camp. It's a tented camp with all of the luxury of being in a house, except the walls are tented. So you have your own private facilities, beautiful beds, open during the day so you can get, light and everything in the tent. And then in the evenings, they put down the flaps so you can sleep easily and not have any little critters that come in to visit you. Not necessarily animals, but you may also have some mosquitoes or something. Here in Samburu, in addition, of course, to elephants, you may see the reticulated giraffe as well as Grevy's zebra, both of which you may also be able to see in Tsavo, because as I said, it's a transitional sort of park. Northern Kenya, Samburu has a variety of different animals, like the Somali ostrich that you can see here. And then, of course, the topography is really, really beautiful. That's, the banks of the Brown River, Niro, and you see those dome plants, trees, and the vegetation, which is really surrounds the river. After you go off a little bit, it becomes a lot more arid. Here you'll have also very good chances for the big cats, like lions or leopard. And then the Besa oryx is another type of thing that you will see up here. You won't see in the Mara, for instance, if you take the excursion. Just one of these fun pictures of a spotted hyena with her young. While you're here, and one day you're going to be visiting the Reteti Elephant Sanctuary and also the Sira Rhino Sanctuary. These are all part of the Northern Rangelands Trust. And so there is obviously an affiliation with IEF because they are being supported by NRT. After you view, you will spend the day, actually. Reteti is a few hours drive. And Sarah is quite close to that as well. But after you spend one day, you still have 3 days that you will be up there. So you'll have plenty of time to see the wildlife. Then at the end, you fly back to Nairobi and you have a day room at the Crown Plaza, and then you come home. But any of you who can spend 3 extra days, we highly recommend that you add the extension so you can really see incredible wildlife in the Masai Mara. So this is the country of lions. There are so many prides of lions. And this is the country of cheetah. This is your best chance in the Mara to see the cheetahs. So huge prides of lions, and cheetahs and leopards and all of the big things. You are going to stay at the Mara Intrepid's tenta camp, which is the sister camp to the Samburu one. And it kind of has sort of the same feel. Beautiful, about 30 tents total, so it's not very large, in a nice location, and your tents are just spectacular. In November, you might be able to see something like this, which is the wildebeest as they are returning home in the plains, or they may be less than this because this is a big number, but that's how you will see them. You will not really see them in the water, crossing waters, or at least you shouldn't see them that way, but one never knows. One can only hope. As I said, this is the kingdom of lions. There are roughly 3,500 lions in Serengeti National Park as a whole. And of course, the Masai Mara is the northern sector of the Serengeti ecosystem. So you may see prides that are 15, 20 strong. So it's a fantastic park to visit because of that. And lions lazing, that's what they do during the middle of the day anyway. Or lions hunting. It's quite interesting in this world where the female usually does all the work and the male eats first. So I don't know if there is a lesson to be learned from that. As I said earlier, the cheetah is fantastic sightings in the Mara. There's obviously, this is wildlife, there is never a guarantee, but there are very good chances that you will see cheetah in the Masai Mara because they are plentiful here. And this is a typical stance where they sit on top of a termite mound and gaze out into the distance to make sure that there are no predators that are coming after them, especially if they have any young ones. This is also leopard country. So you might be seeing leopard. She spends most of the day sleeping on the bark of a tree, but then they are semi-nocturnal, which means more than likely they will go hunting in the evening or in the early morning. On occasion, you may even see wild dogs, but not just here. There have been wild dogs in Tsavo. There have been wild dogs in Samburu, but I had groups who saw them in Tsavo, who saw them very close to the waterhole. So you never know. Hopefully you will be lucky and see them. There are roughly 73 species of antelopes that are found in Africa out of 86 known. And here you will see quite a few of them, from, of course, the largest, which is the common eland, to the smallest, which is the dik-dik, Kirk's dik-dik. Dik-diks mate for life, and they're plentiful, primarily up in Samburu. You might see quite a lot of them. Topi, this is one of the animals that, again, you find on termite hills because they are busy scanning around for predators. So this is Topi, or Tsesabi as it is called in Southern Africa. I love this picture because if you're a bird watcher, you're not going to see the buffalo. You're going to see the little bird, the buffalo weaver. But there are plenty of buffaloes in the Mara, and many Duggar boys like this one. And of course, elephants. Elephants are everywhere there. And hippo, you will visit hippo pools that have a lot of hippos in the area. And also the smaller things, like the body of fox or the banded mongoose, another predator also. Again, one of these pictures that I absolutely love because it shows to you that nothing goes to waste. This is a dead animal, obviously, and look how many different animals are feeding here, from the hyena to the jackal to, of course, all different types of vultures here. Even if you don't love birds, you're going to learn what this bird is and you're going to love it. It's the lilac-breasted roller, probably one of the most beautiful birds anywhere in the world. And it has these spectacular colors, especially as it flies and the sun hits it. And then you've got other birds that are so large and so interesting and so varied that you can't miss them. You know, the secretary bird is almost my height. I'm 5'2". So I don't know, it's very big. And then, you know, the Marshall eagle and smaller ones. But the colors, the texture, the go-away bird, which is the bottom left, wakes you up in the morning with its distinctive call. The woodland kingfisher, the Cory bustard. The Cory bustard is the heaviest bird in flight. You'll have a chance to visit a Maasai village and to learn how this nomadic tribe, semi-nomadic, it used to be completely nomadic. They are not as nomadic anymore. They have areas that they inhabit, but they still have a lot of their local traditions. So it's interesting to visit and see, you know, how they live. The only thing I caution when you visit them is to please be careful in terms of they're going to try to sell you things. And you need to understand that you don't have to pay them. You don't have to buy anything, not unless you want it, because they tend to be a bit aggressive and a bit expensive. So it's a constant thing that I have with my guides, telling them that they really need to pick the villages that are not doing that are not gouging people. But, you know, the nature is nature. It's still very interesting to see, though, and to try to jump as high as they do. Not easy. They'll dance for you. It's quite interesting to visit anyway. And this is what I was saying earlier. Don't feel obligated to buy, but they will have various things out there for you to buy. Depending on the village you visit, you might be able to visit their little school. This was a small school when we visited in the area. But regardless, we can also try to take you to a school so you can see, you know, how they educate the children and everything. And this can happen, by the way, not just here. I don't know if it's included in Savo. Is that one of the things that you do, Sarah? Do you know when you visit in Savo? Because I would bet that the trust is involved with schools in the local community.
I think one of them is going to take us to one of their schools. I think it might be Savo or it could be NRT.
Okay. And we can try to find out what exactly they need, because you can very easily bring school supplies or whatever it is, you know, to donate to the children when you are visiting. In the Mara, you may have an opportunity to take a hot air balloon. That is at an additional cost. It's roughly $600, but it's quite interesting to see the terrain, the animals from a perspective, from high up on a balloon. You know, this could be a picture that you are seeing from the balloon. And that's essentially the end of the safari. You fly back to Nairobi, and from there you fly home. For you to sign up, you need to complete this reservation form and send it in to us. And then these are the costs of the trip. And this is Daisy. Daisy is your journey manager. She handles the program. So any questions you have, she will be really super happy to answer them and to convince you to travel on this exciting, exciting adventure. This essentially is the end of my presentation. But I will be very happy to answer any questions you may have.
And I'm going to chime in just to say that the Masai Mara is, Stacy was not exaggerating when she said that you'll see tons of animals. That is really the premier spot to see a lot of different animals and lots of them. And I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it was.
It's okay. It'll come to you when you least expect it.
Yeah. Oh, I know maybe what I was going to say is you see so many animals that you really do see them doing things, living their daily lives. Like I've seen a lion capture a baboon as it was, the lion saw the baboon troop on the other side of the river, and it crossed the river in a blink of an eye. And as the baboons were scattering, one of the baboons tried to scale a tree, and the lion caught him mid-air as he was going up that tree. I mean, just some amazing. I saw a leopard kill a impala. You actually see the wildlife in action if you're lucky. I mean, you don't see that every day, and not everybody sees that. But I do recommend, if there's the ability to see the Masai Mara, it is well worth the trip.
Yeah, if you can do the full trip, it is amazing. If you cannot, you can do the main trip. It's still going to show you quite a lot of wildlife, and of course, the most important work that IEF is doing.
I agree. That's the most important. To me, that's the most important, the first part of the trip.
And that's also the truly exclusive part of the trip. Is there, you won't find any other trip to Kenya where you can get this kind of behind the scenes access to these conservation projects, and we're very excited to share that. But if you have any questions, now's the time. We got experts in Stacy and Debbie, and we're pretty excited.
Go on the trip, bring a friend or two or three or five. If no questions, we'll say good night, and we hope you can make the trip, or you can refer some people to the trip as well.
And feel free to email Julie, myself, Sarah, about any questions that you might have, and any questions about the projects that we'll be visiting and what exactly the projects have in store. Yeah, we'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
I have a quick question. The itinerary and the paperwork is on the IEF website. Is that where it is? Is it easy to find?
It's right on our homepage. You go to elephantconservation.org. Just below the header, there's a little ticker, and that'll take you to everything.
Great, thank you.
So we can also send you the link.
Yeah, we can also just email it too. So if you have problems finding it, let me know.